Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kotlin Android Development Crash Course. In this video, we will take our first exciting steps into Android Studio. Here is what we'll cover: a quick tour of Android Studio interface, how to create and configure your first Android project, a breakdown of the core files and folders, and finally how to run your app on an emulator. By the end of this video, you'll have your very first Android app running. When you launch Android Studio, you will start on the welcome screen. From here, you can click here to create a new project or this place to open an existing project. You can also get a project from GitHub directly into your project. You can also find helpful links over here where you can customize Android Studio interface as well as add plugins or a link to where you can learn more about Android Studio and its documentations. So this also tells you the version of Android Studio installed on your system. Now it's time to create a new project in Android Studio. So to create a new project, you click on this plus button here where it says new project. And then you choose empty views activity. You choose empty views activity. This is a great starting point for beginners. Then you click on next. Now you have to configure the project. The first thing you do is you specify the name of the project. In my case, I'll call my app my first app. And the second thing is you specify the package name. This will serve as the ID for your application. And usually the package name is specified like a domain in reverse order. So if you have, let's say, www.google.com, then you have your package name specified as com.google and then the application name. And it's just a convention. It could be io dot, let's say, maoli dot my app name, which is my first app. So make sure there's no space between it. If you want to specify different words, then you use the dot. Okay, you use the dot to separate it. So that's just a convention. So the next thing you do is to specify the location where you want to save this project, and then you select the Kotlin programming language. Other thing you have to select is your minimum SDK. The minimum SDK determines the oldest Android versions your app will support. Once you select your version, for now I'll just go with the 14. It means your application will support about 90% of devices globally. You can leave this that way, and then you click on finish. Android Studio will generate your project. This may take a moment, so be patient. Wow, awesome. Your first Android project is ready. Let's explore the interface. So at the top, you have your toolbar and then the menus over here. This play green button, this is what you use to build and then launch your application. The tools menu gives you access to features like device manager, your device manager for the emulator. You have your build here, which you can select to clean project, rebuild project, and then you also use these ones to generate projects for publication in the Play Store or sharing. So we have refactor. Most of these menus at the top here have been placed on these bars along the side, and then some on the top menu here. Most of those ones have been placed here, and some you use them through shortcuts or right clicking for more options. They are also available inside the context of the application. So most of them are here. The frequently used ones are being placed on the side for you. Here are some, and then we have these ones as well. And most of them, like I said, will be found in the context whilst you are programming. But in case you need anything, you can come to the top here to find out. So you click on the file here to create a new project. So if you want to create a new project, you will come to file, and then you can see you can create a new project from here. You can create a new project. You can also open, that's import an existing project, and do other stuff as well. You can invalidate cache. You can find a project structure over here. So there is a lot more you can do under this file menu. And the other one too is the VCS. So that's version control system. So you can use this one to enable Git into your project, or get projects from Git, or push projects and all those stuff. Then you come here for help, where you can type to search for whatever you are looking for. On the left side, this part is the project explorer. This is where your project is organized into folders and files. You can switch views to focus on specific parts of your project, like the res folder, which is short for resources. And then we have the Kotlin Java folder. So this part contains the main project folders and files. And this is where you write your code. This large part, this part, you click here to close the project explorer, and then you click it to open it back. So this part, this is where you write your code. This is actually the Kotlin code. This is where you write your Kotlin code. And then your XML code for the view is also on this part. Okay, so this is your design. So this is where everything you design on the page will be visible at for the application. So this is where you do your editing and then design your applications. And this is where you write your Kotlin code to connect to the design you've done to manipulate it. And at the bottom here, we have other menus here that you can check out. The first one is when your project is building, you click here to monitor your project as it builds. And this one also provides insights. So this is for when you publish your app. But the most important one over here is this log cut. So at the bottom here, you find the log cut panel. This is the log cut panel. This shows real-time logs when your app runs. It's an essential tool for debugging and finding errors. So when you run your application and there's any error or issue with it, those error messages will be logged on this panel. And we also have a terminal here that you can use to configure your project. So we have inbuilt terminal here. Okay, and we have the log cut, and we have the build to monitor the build, and this is for Git. So once you enable Git or version control, you will come here to monitor those activities over here. On the right side here, we have a notification. So whatever goes on in your Android system will be registered here. So this is your notification. Then this part shows the connected devices, or your emulated devices will be shown on this listed over here. And the one that is currently actively working is shown on this pane. Currently, they've introduced Gemini. So you can log in and use Gemini to assist you with your coding. as well. So those are the essential ones that you need as a beginner. The Gemini, your devices that are running, and then your emulators, all the devices that are connected will be listed here. And then we have the Gradle for project management, your notification. Now that you understand the interface, let's explore the project structure. Android projects are organized into specific folders and files. So the first folder, which is called manifest, contains a file called manifest android manifest.xml. This file is located in your app folder, and inside this file you perform app level configurations like adding permissions and then activities for your application. For example, if you want to access or you want your application to access internet, you have to declare a permission like this: use permission, and then you declare the internet permission. So this is how you enable internet accessibility in your application. So it is in this file that you set up the configuration, you add activities. As you can see, the activity, this main activity is registered here. Okay, so we'll talk about the main activity. So the next interesting folder is the rest, short for resources. It organizes everything visual in your application. So the first one here is the drawable. So this one holds any image, whether icon or normal images. You put them in this folder. Then we have the layout folder. So this layout folder contains XML files defining your app's appearance. So you can see the application, the interface that I showed you, your entire application appearance, whether the home screen and all those stuff are defined in an XML file and placed in the layout folder. And the next interesting one is the value. So here you define your colors, the colors that you'll be using for the entire application. You define your colors over here. Okay, and the string. So this string is responsible for holding all the text that you store in your application. It is helpful for translation and text changes. Then we have the theme where you define global colors and other stuff for the application. Okay, so we have the light theme and then the dark. Finally, we have this Kotlin plus Java folder, and the first folder here, that's what's of interest to us. The other two are meant for testing. So what's of interest to us is the first folder here, which bears your package name. So the first one, it holds your main source code, the Kotlin source code. This is where the Kotlin source code are. So you see Kotlin plus Java folder. Under it, the first package name. The first package name. Then you put all your source code for Kotlin. You define all your logic inside this folder. So this is your Kotlin file. This is your Kotlin file. And it has a file called main activity. This is the entry point of your application and is located in the Kotlin Java folder. This is the entry point to your application. So usually Android organizes files into packages for better organization. Activities, fragments, and other code are stored here. All your fragment activities and other code, you store them here. So now that we understand the project structure and the interface of Android Studio, let's run our application. So to run the application, you first of all have three options. The first one is to run it on an emulator. So emulator is just a virtual Android device on your computer where you test your application. And you can also connect your physical device to your laptop and then test your application. Finally, you can connect your physical device through Wi-Fi and then test your application. So in this video, we will learn how to create emulator and then run the application. So when you first install Android Studio, it automatically created this emulator for you. But we will learn how to create one and then run the application on it. So to create an Android emulator, you will come to this part, or like I said, you can come to tools and then go to device manager, okay, which opens this same window for you. Then you click on this plus icon to add or create a new virtual device. So we have different types of phones available. You can choose the one you want and which device you want to test it on. So you see this Play Store icon here. Once this is an image, it's like the OS. So this it means this phone don't have OS on them. We just have the virtual hardware. So if you select this phone, you have to install the OS before it will get started. But those that are empty here means that they have the OS installed. So when you select it, you have to install the OS and then you continue. So I'll just pick the Pixel 6 and then I'll go to next. So here are some of the Android versions. We have different Android versions. So for now, we don't have any installed, so we have to install one. So I'll select the latest one. Yeah, the latest one is 35. So I'll select the 35 and then go ahead and run the installation. So you have to wait for it to complete. So once it is completed, you click on finish, then you select that one, go to next. So you can give it a name. You can change this name and set it to whatever you want. I'll just leave it that way for now. Then click on finish. Okay, so this creates another virtual device for us. Now click on this run button to start the emulator. So once the emulator is started, you can come here and select that one. So here it shows you all the available devices. So when you click here, it shows you all the available devices. So we'll select our new emulator. It is setting up. It's like a new phone you've bought and you are setting it up. It has to configure and then start. So this is like a new phone you bought from the market. It has to set up everything fresh for you to start using it. Now that the emulator is ready, you can go ahead and then click on this button to run the application. So in this case, I got some error during the build process saying the dependency requires that it compiles against version 25 and later. So to fix that, in case you have the same issue, you scroll down to this part that says Gradle script, and then you select build.gradle.kts, the one with the app. Then you open it, you double click to open it. Then you come here and update this version number from 34 to 35. Okay, so you can change this to 35. Once you do that, you click on this sync, and this is what updates the dependency for you. So you wait for it to sync. Once it's done, we'll build it again and see if it will work.
So the application has launched successfully, and there you have it. Hello world from hello world from our UI. Okay, so this message hello world has been printed on the screen. So we've been able to run our application successfully. And that's it for this lesson. We've toured Android Studio, created our first project, explored its structures, and even ran your application on an emulator. In the next video, we'll dive into building your app's UI with layouts and view. Please subscribe and like and share this video.